Okay, I figure while we're going to take the better half's car down to the dealership for some warranty work. So we're in the 2020 Scat Pack wide body. So I figured I would tell the story of, well, long story short, I had a 2017 Mustang GT Performance Pack 1, just a base GT. 6-speed, but I had the PP1 package. Actually, worked at a Ford dealership at the time that I purchased it. Didn't drive it a whole lot. I had some other vehicles. I only put 6,000 miles on it in, what did I have for 2.5 years? Something like that. I don't know. So, when I made the decision last summer and fall to go back into real estate, I did have a loan on that car, was making payments, so I wanted to eliminate all that, going back into a commission-based job with no guarantee or no anything like that. So I decided, well, okay. Well, locally here, we're in the Midwest, about 90 miles west of Chicago. Dealerships didn't want it. I put it on Craigslist, got a few weirdos message me, but long story short, I seen it Vroom and Carvana and all that on TV. So I thought, well, I'd give it a try. And Carvana was the winner by like $1,200 over. No, I'm sorry. I apologize. There was 3 of them companies. Vroom was actually like $250 more than Carvana, but I had never heard of them, but I had heard of Carvana. So long story short, I said, okay, well, I'm happy with this price because a Ford dealer about 60 miles away from me had the identical car as mine, except for mine was lightning blue. The one they had was, I believe, ruby red. But, they had that, and it had the same miles. It had like, I think 300 miles less than mine. They had it marked down to what Carvana was willing to buy mine wholesale for. So I said, well, this is as good as I'm going to do if I'm not going to hold out. And my thing was, I lost my storage that I used in the winter, so I was going to have to pay to store the car too. So even if I had to take a little less, that's what I was going to do. So long story short, I do everything, yep, this is what we're supposed to do, upload all the information. They want your ID and, proof of ownership, blah, 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 blah. So, they said a day that they're going to come. And at this point, I was keeping the car at another property. It was actually a family member's house that I looked after. I had 2 of my cars in her garage. But, so I had to meet them over there, and after sitting there for 2 hours and making several phone calls on that day, nobody ever showed up. So, finally I got a hold of a gal at Carvana, and she said, well, let me look in to see what happened here. So she calls me back, and she says, well, I apologize. The central booking or what have you booked you, but nobody put it on the schedule for the guy that is supposed to be, the closest. I think they were out of Milwaukee, and I'm in the Rockford area, so 90 miles west of Chicago, and nobody told him he needed to come pick the car up. So I said, well, no big deal. Well, as soon as they come out next 3 days or what have you, we'll set a new time. Okay, great. So I go over there, taking my last pictures, and, always, thinking again, oh boy, was this the right thing to do? Because I liked the car, I just didn't drive it much, and it was just, just another car payment, insurance payment, and registration, and all that sitting there when I didn't know what was going to happen with my incomes. So I can buy another one, which is hence, almost bought another Mustang when I bought this, but I decided to go with the wide body Charger. But anyway, so the guy shows right up on time, boom, 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 looks at the car, doesn't even really look it over the besides looking at it, says it's only got 6,000 miles. It looks perfectly fine to me, which it was. It was in perfect shape. But, you know. So, you know, and I'll put some pictures up here. You know, this is the car in the driveway and the Carvana truck there. And so he gets in it and doesn't take it around the block or nothing, but pulls it up onto the Carvana truck. And very few pieces of paper to sign, a little, I think a little buyer's agreement or the seller's agreement, and I think probably a power of attorney in case they need to, you know, to sign off on the title and stuff like that, because obviously my lien holder had the title. So that's all said and done. The car's gone. Okay. They told me, you know, within, I want to say within 24 hours, and don't quote me, I don't remember if it was 24 or 48 hours, that the payoff gets overnighted to your lien holder. And at the time of picking the car up, if you owned it outright, they'd give you a check. That I think there's a little bit of a holding period before you can cash that check, but or, you know, they also give you the difference if it's over and beyond what you owe on the vehicle. And I was pretty much a wash at that point, but but I want, you know, obviously the loan paid off, so I had a payment coming up due like in a week. No, actually it was a week to begin with, and then they cut it to 3 days. And, you know, I'm like, well, okay, you know, you got a 10-day grace period, so no big deal. I'm not going to get dinged with any late charge or, you know, late on my credit report or anything. So I don't think anything of it. I figure I'll get a receipt from somebody, the lien holder or what have you. And I think about 2 weeks goes by, and I get a phone call. No, it would have been less than 2 weeks. So essentially it was the 10th day or 11th day of, I think it was the 11th day, so 10 days of grace period. I get a call that says, you know, we're wanting your payment. And I said, well, it's supposed to be paid off. I sold the vehicle to Carvana. They supposed to have paid it off. And he said, well, we haven't received nothing. I said, okay, let me call them. If I got to make a payment, I'll make a payment, but it's just holding up a bunch of money for God knows how long. So I call Carvana, and the payment went out last week. I said, okay, I thought it was supposed to be, a little mix up. Payment went out last week. I said, well, you got a tracking number or something on that? So he comes back and he says, payment will be going out Monday. And I said, I thought you just told me it went out last week. He says, yeah, there was a mix up. The payment will go out Monday. I said, okay. So I called lien holder back, told them that, and they said, well, we need a payment. And I said, well, you're going to have it in like 4 days, so by the time I make a payment to you and it clears out of my account, you'll already have a check for the full amount, so I'm just going to hold off a little bit. You know, he said, well, you're going to have a late fee now, and I said, well, that's the lien holder's problem, not mine, because this was supposed to be paid for 2 weeks ago. So, you know, I called a few more times. Lien holder said they hadn't gotten anything. So by this time, I want to say, because the lien holder kept calling me too, and by the time I finally tracked somebody down at Carvana, we're talking unfortunately it's been almost a year since this happened. I was going to make a video on it then, and I thought, nah, I'm not going to do that. So I want to say it was 26 days until they finally got it. So at 22 or 23 days, you know, I called him and he said, oh, nope, it's going to go out. There's a mix-up. We finally got our funding. I said, you got your funding? And he says, yeah, I apologize, this and that. And I said, well, there's a late fee, there's this and that. I don't want 30 days late on my credit report, man. This is ridiculous. You guys have had the car almost a month, and you haven't paid for it yet. You know, either there or bring my car back if I'm going to have to pay on it. Well, it was already sale pending on their website 2 weeks prior. As soon as that thing hit their website, it went sale pending because it was a nice car. So long story short, they finally overnighted it to them. The lien holder finally got it. They must have worked out between them, because I got a obviously the payoff was a little different because there was more than 10 days of interest, and there was, a late fee because they didn't pay it. But at one point I thought, what the hell happened? They stealing my car, And, but, so that, to kind of give a review on Carvana, everything was streamlined and great until they didn't show up when they were supposed to. And then they finally did, and that process was quick. The guy was very courteous. He couldn't have been any nicer. Everything was great. And then whoever handles paying stuff off, what I'm kind of guessing from the guy that said, we got our next batch of funding, so everything's good, is I think they ran out of buy-in money, but they had already picked up cars. That's kind of what I guessed was they were waiting for funding to go through, but in the meantime, they were still scheduling and picking up cars, and just figured when we get it, we'll pay for them. But, it was almost a month that they had my car and hadn't paid a penny for it. And not saying I would never sell them a car again. It's just something that I guess I would definitely be on top of and just go ahead and make the extra payment. Luckily, I had no bad reporting in my credit report or nothing like that. But it just next time I think I would just go ahead and make a next payment and then just wait for them to send me that money back. But I don't know. Crazy.